Thank you, everyone. You may be seated. It's so good to see you all. Thank you for being here. I will do an official welcome in just a minute. We wanted to start the service with a video of photos from Jackie's Instagram. There was a time when Jackie, of course, as we all know, had some bad news of her health, and she decided rather than mope around or feel sorry, she would post photos of things that made her happy for every day for 100 days. And one of her closest friends, Michael Burlando, has put that together for us in a slideshow. So why don't we watch that together? love that wherever you are. Thank you. Well, I want to welcome you all on behalf of the Warner family. Thank you so much for being here to remember Jackie. Let's pray together. Jesus, I want to thank you for Jackie, this beautiful person with so much joy. I got to be honest and say I never wanted to be here to do this. But I got to say thank you to you for giving her to us. She's blessed me so much, Lord. And I know the peace that you were able to give her in these past few weeks. And now I just want to ask, would that peace come on us today? Would that peace come for the Warner family, for all of us that are sad that she's gone? Would you give us your comfort and your peace? And Jesus, I know without a doubt that you hold her, that your face lights up when she entered heaven, like our faces do when she would enter a room, and I know that you're holding her now. And I want to thank you, beautiful Jesus, for being there for her. So now would you be with us? In Jesus' name, amen. My name is Justin Bills. I was Jackie's pastor, but more than a pastor, I was her friend for much longer. And it is my privilege to facilitate this service this morning. I'd like to introduce two of Jackie's cousins, Alyssa Hoagie and David Howard, to come up. They're going to sing one of Jackie's favorite worship songs, 10,000 Reasons. Thank you, guys.
It is so awesome, so wonderful, and such a testament to Jackie's character to see so many people here today to celebrate her life. My name is Pam Andreessen, and I have had the complete honor and privilege of calling Jacqueline Warner one of my very best friends for almost 16 years. I first met Jackie sometime between grade 7 and grade 8 at R.T. Alderman Junior High. What first brought us together was a mutual admiration of Christian music artist Michael W. Smith. I remember being so excited to meet another girl at school who shared my faith in Jesus, and little did I know at that time that those mutual interests and values would lead to such a precious and beautiful friendship that would last a lifetime. Jackie was there for me when I was 14 and going through my first breakup. She stood up with me as a bridesmaid on the day that I got married, and she genuinely loved on my 2 children with every chance that she got. When the Warners asked me to speak today, I took some time to talk with 2 other very dear, mutual, longtime friends of Jackie's and mine, and what I'm going to share with you now are some of the things that we remember the most about Jackie. First is that her family was always very important to her. Whether it was cousins, aunts, or uncles, or grandparents, we heard a lot about all of them, and she loved to tell us about them. Even more, she clearly valued time with her mom and dad and younger brother, Tyler. And she would tell us about Sunday night was family nacho night, and we knew that it was very important to her. And I know whenever she missed it, she would always tell us, like, I can't miss it again. Like, it was very important. And I admired that a lot about her. Jackie was always beautiful, but somewhere between high school and university, she became the most fashionable person I knew. She was always up to date with what was in and what wasn't, and she always looked amazing. If I ever needed any fashion advice, I would go to her, and she would very graciously share her knowledge with me. And I always felt that her love of fashion was so telltale of her personality. As you've probably heard before, and it's up on the screen even right there, Jackie said of herself, I don't like, I love. And that could not be more true. What she loved, she loved. Her emotions were so intense, and whether it was excitement, like when she met the band O-Town, or passed her grade 9 math provincial exam that I think she was sure she'd failed. I will never forget her face, and it was wonderful. Or anger, like when Stephanie and I made her take the C train downtown after Stampede one night, or sadness or anything else. She felt things deeply, and she usually let us know that. Over the years of our friendship, I was able to travel with Jackie multiple times, whether it was just to West Edmonton Mall for the day with church youth group, or if it was across the Atlantic Ocean to visit our sweet friend Stephanie in England. It was such an adventure to go anywhere with Jackie. When we went to Disneyland together for a week in 2005, I knew I had found the best travel buddy that I could ask for. Overall, though, of all of Jackie's amazing qualities, her faithfulness as a friend is what I will always remember and carry with me. Proverbs chapter 17, verse 17 begins by saying, "A friend loves at all times," and this describes Jackie perfectly for me. She was always so thoughtful and encouraging and quick to forgive. She knew the value of real, genuine friendship, and she strived to be that kind of friend. And I have to add, and it goes without saying, she was one of the most fun friends a person could ask for. Her sense of humor was spot on, and her laugh was glorious, wonderful sound. And the way it bubbled up and burst out of her, I could never help but laugh along with her. And I already miss that so much that it hurts. And I'm so very, very thankful that she chose me as a friend all those years ago. And I believe without a doubt that I will see her again, and we will laugh and talk with more joy than we've ever had before.
Hi, everybody. My name's Joy, and I was also a friend of Jackie's. And I met Jackie at the University of Lethbridge in 2007 or 8. The glory days of the late 2000s. And we very quickly bonded over many things: Gone with the Wind, Audrey Hepburn, Taylor Swift, cats, Singing, dancing, Saturday Night Live, tea parties, and skipping class to go suntan on the steps. And over our friendship, Jackie taught me so much. I learned more from her than I think I did from U of L. Hope there's no profs here. These things have really helped me in the last, for my whole life, and I know they'll continue to help me, and I just wanted to share a couple things that Jackie taught me with you today. So the first thing that Jackie taught me is the art of dance. I don't know if you've heard that phrase, dance like nobody's watching. Jackie Warner danced like everybody was watching because they were. Jackie danced because she loved it, seriously, passionately, dramatically, with her whole body, anywhere, everywhere. And she did it because it was fun. That's it. And doing things because you love them and they're fun is really important. And I think that's a good lesson for us all. The second thing that I want to share with you, and I've really taken this to heart, is that laughter and humor can get you through a lot. The only thing serious about Jackie and I's friendship was how much we loved each other. We laughed all the time. We joked all the time. And in the last couple weeks, and this week especially, I've been wondering, is it okay to laugh? Is it okay to make jokes? And I've done it and wondered if I should feel guilty. And I remembered something that Jackie and I talked a lot about, which was Saturday Night Live. And I remember after 9/11, and there was this big talk about, is it okay for humor after a tragedy? And the mayor of New York, Giuliani, was on SNL talking to Lorne Michaels. And Lorne Michaels said, is it okay to be funny? And the mayor was like, why start now? And we loved that so much. It's just true. So if you want to make a joke today, do it, because Jackie would have laughed at it. And you can hear her voice in your head, because I can. Why start now? The third thing Jackie taught me that I want to share, and this is a hard one, that it's more important to be kind than it is to be right. And this is something that we talked about as friends all the time and always tried to do. So kindness was so important to her, to be loving, to be kind, even when it means that you don't look cool or biting your tongue even when you're right. And that's something that I'm going to remember. But the thing that I'm going to remember the most about Jackie is how much she loved life. Like it said, she doesn't like, she loves. And Jackie loved so many things. Little things and big things. Even in her last weeks, she was finding new things to fall in love with. It's okay to throw yourself into a new TV show or movie or music or relationship or your beautiful cat. It's okay. And Jackie taught me that you should love fully. That's the only way to live. It's impossible not to be happy around someone who loves life as fully as Jacqueline. And now it feels hard. It feels like we're not going to love life anymore, and it's going to be hard. But we learned from the best. We learned from Jacqueline Warner how to love life. So we will again, and that's what she wants. So next time you're wondering to throw yourself into something, throw yourself all in for Jackie. Thanks.
I'm Grace, Jackie's auntie, and this is Andrea, Jackie's cousin. There's so many things that we'd like to share about Jackie. It's hard to know where to start. But I was riding her along the ridge by the Warner's home the other day, and I thought of Jackie's words about loving where she lived so much and how happy she was in Calgary and how pleasant and nice her home was. How she loved living in it. How much she appreciated and loved her dad and the flowers that he'd always bring her, and her best friend named Mom. and her little big brother Tyler, who she's so proud of. Jackie had a heart full of love, and as she always said, I don't like, I love. And she lived her life with all her heart from the moment she was born. Trust me, she enthusiastically let us know who she wanted to be with from the time she was born. Her mom. And you guys too. I know and heard about her vocal abilities when getting ready many mornings, and shoe shopping was over the top. The cutest thing was watching Jackie in Langley in the school choir. That girl sang her head off, her eyes wide open, smiling her adorable smile, singing perfectly on time and in beat, oblivious to everybody around her, singing with all of her heart. And as she grew, she just simply continued to live and love with no reservations. Bachelorette, Big Brother, Disneyland, history, coloring, art, Cape and Ray, traveling, her many, many friends, her family, her Valentine Janie, her sister cousin Alyssa, her cousin crush David, and all her many cousins, aunties and uncles, and again, the theme of dancing, who, as Joy said, who hasn't seen Jackie dance? And could anybody dance like that or with more energy or enthusiasm?
I don't know. Last time I saw Jackie dance was at her cousin crush Dave's wedding last October, and she danced all night. She had so much energy. When Jackie was born, I think I was about 6 years old, and I remember her cute big cheeks and her cute big smile, and it was such a unique smile. I also remember a little bow on her head and her little ponytail. And I was so excited to have a new little baby cousin, and I remember I always wanted to play with her and hold her, but she made it pretty clear that she only wanted to be with her mom and her family. To us older cousins, she was the baby of the family. But then she got a bit older, and when she moved to Calgary, something changed. Along with being an older sister to Tyler, she became the big older cousin to Alyssa and Jackson and Maxwell. And watching her grow into that role was so neat to see. She was such a loving and caring older sister cousin to everyone. And when I was thinking about Jackie and all of us cousins, it really dawned on me what a hugely important role she's played amongst us cousins. She really served as a link or the bridge between us older BC cousins and the younger Alberta cousins. She was kind of like the middle sister to all of us. Middle cousin. I can think of so many examples of times when she actively sought to connect us to each other, and I'm so grateful to her for that. I hope that by continuing to grow in our relationships with each other, we cousins can find a way to honor Jackie.
So when cancer arrived for 5 years, she faced one hurdle after another, from losing her foot to losing her hair, and not just once, enduring so much disappointment and discomfort over and over again. But Jackie chose to be happy, honest, and open about her life, and in doing that, she made it possible for the rest of us to endure because of her strong spirit.
It was so hard to be all the way over in BC when Jackie first got sick. And I remember the first time I saw Jackie after she had lost her foot and had been through a round of chemo. And I imagined she'd be wearing her wig and her prosthetic and might not be feeling so well, so I wanted to be sensitive and gentle with her, and I suppose I felt a little bit apprehensive and wanted to be as supportive and good of a cousin as possible. So she was staying at Grace's, and I remember I arrived at Grace's condo, and I called Auntie Grace to let me in, and she told me they were in the pool area. So I thought, oh, okay. So I went over to the pool area, and I saw Auntie Grace, and then a towel, and then a prosthetic leg. And as I was asking where Jackie was, I heard a splash, and I looked over, and there she was, out of the water. Or I saw her, out of the water, I saw her foot and her other leg, and that was a bit of a shock. And then she was under the water, and then she came back up again, and of course she wasn't wearing her wig, and that was a shock too. And at that moment, Jackie spotted me, and she shrugged, and she says, well, this is me, deal with it. And she laughed her Jackie laugh, and when she went on swimming. And instantly I felt so relieved, and I remembered, oh yeah, this is Jackie we're talking about here. And somehow she'd already started doing what she did throughout her illness, which was helped me and us to be able to cope with what she was going through. And she continued to help me and all of us cope through all of her social media posts, her comments and her likes, her blog posts and her thank you notes. there would be days I would be so worried for her and hoping she was feeling okay, and then all of a sudden there was her big grin on Instagram, and she'd comment on something or like something, and it always felt so comforting. I'm so amazed by Jackie. She had so much grace through all of this.
As Andrea said, Jackie was comforting us much of the time, most of the time. She always was so concerned that her family was well supported, and when the inevitable happened, as she said, she sent me a note a few weeks ago asking that I come and be with her mom because she figured that her mom would be, having a really hard time. She was so concerned about you. And you may have seen the video where she was shedding some tears out of concern for her mom and her dad and Tyler. We're so proud to be Jackie's family and can't imagine life without her, but feel comfort in all the possibilities she's experiencing now. Stop making your life a race to accomplish everything, and instead appreciate everything that you do accomplish. Your life is exactly as long as it is supposed to be. Rest in that. Jacqueline Michelle Warner.
Everyone's done very well so far. I can't promise I'll do as well. My name's Christy. Jackie and I are cousins, and over the past several years, we developed a very special relationship. We shared a mutual love of all things reality TV, including such quality programs as the Bachelor/Bachelorette franchise. We were fangirls over Beyonce and Justin Timberlake, amongst many other people. We thought they were musical geniuses, and at any wedding, you could find us in the middle of the dance floor dancing all night long. When I got married in July 2010, it was just 1 month after Jackie's amputation. Up until a week before the wedding, it was questionable whether or not the Warner family would be able to attend. Against all odds, they made the trip from Calgary to Vancouver. Jackie was on crutches and in a lot of pain, and yet she still managed to find her way onto the dance floor with the whole family rallying around her so she could bust a move. I think we can all agree that girl could dance better with a prosthetic limb than most people with 2 legs. She never let her leg limit what she could do, and she always set out to enjoy each experience to the fullest. Jackie faced her disease the same way she faced life, head on with a sense of humor. She brought to light a very scary situation. I can remember her in hysterics telling me a story about working a closing shift at the Penny Coffee House after her amputation. There was a new guy working, and they were playing a game of Would You Rather. It came to him, and he asked Jackie, would you rather lose an arm or a leg? She started laughing and said, oh, you're gonna feel so bad when I tell you. This poor guy was mortified, and Jackie actually felt really badly for him. But the whole situation was so funny to her that in telling me the story later, she could barely even catch her breath. Her ability to laugh always put everyone else at ease about what could be a very touchy subject. In talking about Jackie's passing, our cousin Andrew said that although Jackie being gone is difficult to accept, her life was what gave us so much joy, and her attitude has changed his perspective on so many things about life. He's incredibly thankful, as we all are, that he got to spend a short time with Jackie as part of his family. Being a parent myself, I cannot even begin to comprehend. He's pinching me. I cannot even begin to comprehend how difficult facing something like this would be. My daughter's 3 years old now, and if I can raise her to be as courageous, kind, funny, and generous as Jackie has been, I will consider myself a very lucky parent. My sister Bryn added that she will always consider Jackie her hero and couldn't be more proud to call her family. She's the person that we will describe to our children when they get older and encourage them to live life like. She is the example we will use when talking about courage and determination. Jackie inspired everyone she touched, and many who never even met her. The last time I talked to Jackie was the Thursday before her pain returned. She told me about how being at home was good for her spiritually and emotionally. Ever the optimist, she said life is good, and she felt a lot of peace. When I said life can be a real jerk sometimes, she told me it has to be both, and there couldn't be one without the other. She was always wise beyond her years. I told her I loved her, and I was in awe of her strength and her spirit, and she told me she loved me too, and she loved how our friendship has developed as adults. I will always cherish that last conversation with her. My sister Tori said it perfectly when she wrote, "One of the brightest lights in our family has gone on to shine in heaven. We will miss her infectious laugh, her incredible sense of humor, and as she would always say, her really cute clothes." Thank you, Jackie, for the privilege of not only calling you my cousin, but also calling you my friend. I will love you and miss you forever.
Sure, she does it perfectly. My niece Jackie came into the world in the summer of 1986. I remember when her mother Carol was pregnant with her. Carol and I have always been quite competitive. And the Easter before Jackie was born, we were coloring Easter eggs. And as I recall the story, my eggs were much better decorated than hers. So Carol took her spoon and smashed my eggs. I returned the favor, and we all laughed, and then Carol started to cry, and then laugh, and then cry again. We knew that she was pregnant, and shortly afterwards she would give birth to Jackie, and perhaps that was the precursor to a wonderful 28 years, lots of laughter, and of course, lots of tears. When Jackie was born, I remember feeling very connected to her. Maybe it was because she was my brother's daughter. Maybe it's because of where I was at the time, but most likely it was because Jackie was just so darn easy to hold on to, and she had such an infectious giggle and just brought so much happiness. As she grew a little bit older and started to talk, she would sing "Skinnamarink, dinky dink, skinnamarink" with the hand motions and everything, and end with "I love you." And it was just fantastic. When Tyler came along, Jackie became very proud to be his big sister and loved to boss him around. I can still clearly hear her saying, "Tyler!" when he wouldn't do what she wanted to, which was often. Tyler quickly became her big little brother, and I can still see him picking up Jackie. "You're supposed to pinch here," and carrying her whenever she needed him. Our family was very sad when their family moved to Calgary, and we saw them less and less, but as the years progressed and she matured into an adult and started dating, I remember still feeling very protective of her, and even speaking to one of her boyfriends about the gun I kept handy and how I thought of her as my second daughter in Calgary. I remember when she was suffering from a pain in her foot. I'd been visiting in Calgary, and the doctor had thought that Jackie, being a runner, maybe had plantar fasciitis. We ridiculously joked that it was probably cancer. I remember hearing later that it was, and the urgency with which the doctors wanted to proceed and amputate her leg and follow up with chemo and radiation, despite there being no evidence of cancer in her body. And I remember feeling absolutely helpless, not only to my niece, a little harder, but also to her parents and my nephew. That feeling would continue for another 5 years as the news of Jackie's cancer was a roller coaster of hope and disappointment. Yet Jackie was incredibly even-keeled through it all. Despite how our emotions raged, she was very serene about everything. I never once heard her complain. I never once heard of her pitying herself. In fact, more often than not, she would say, "Why are you crying?" And I can hear her right now saying that. It's killing me. How does someone so young and going through so much gain such worldly wisdom, confidence, and courage? Well, I'm sure a great deal of this comes from her faith. I know that so much also comes from the loving family she grew up with. I cannot believe the way in which this family dealt with Jackie's cancer. While Jackie was certainly an inspiration to us all, her parents' love throughout all of this was equally admirable. Knowing how much and where to give and let go while Jackie was going through all this takes a great deal of judgment, and they exercised it incredibly well. Jackie did so many things in her last 5 years: concerts, short trips, running, Disneyland, Europe, all the while dancing and having fun like there wasn't a care in the world. Not to mention that a family has a roof over their heads and hope. And a true hero somewhere in El Salvador. It's a true legacy of her selflessness and brave spirit to be celebrated. I came out to Calgary in what would be my last time seeing Jackie a few weeks ago. We talked. She showed me the photo album she had put together of her recent trips, and we talked about her cancer and the inevitability of her dying. That was just not something that she ever skirted around. She met it head on, fearlessly. Too bad for you if it was something that you weren't ready for. I think the video she did for a friend was so telling of the kind of person that Jackie was. Her disappointment was that she was letting all of us down, that she was not going to be able to pull off the miracle and storybook recovery that we all wanted for her. I say quite the contrary. She was an inspiration to all of us in terms of how to live life to the fullest every day and how to face something so terrible with such incredible courage and dignity. If only we could all be more like her. I'm sad that she's no longer with us, but certainly comforted by the fact that she's no longer struggling with the pain. I don't know how she managed to be so strong during those brutal periods when the doctors couldn't manage her pain quickly enough. I do believe that she is fully restored, and with those of her family that have gone before, and I hope that she is enjoying a good Hendrick's martini with 3 olives, dancing with them all and having a great time. We will never forget her.
Hello. I'm Alyssa Hoagie. Jackie was my cousin. And I wrote her a song about 2 years ago. So it's called In the Trouble, and I wrote it in the fall of 2013 while living in Sydney, Australia. I'm just gonna turn around because this is awkward. Jackie had just found out that the cancer had returned, and writing this song was an attempt to shorten the distance that was between us. She was always more than just my cousin. She was more like my sister, especially as neither of us had biological sisters, and we were the only Calgary family, as we called ourselves. So I remember I was sitting at a practice piano at the school I was going to, working on a less than awesome song that I had started writing for her, that I planned to give her for Christmas. And I dramatically slammed on the keys, which whatever, and said, "This isn't working." And over the next few tearful minutes, I began to pray / yell at God, and I asked him to show himself in this situation, and asked him what he was doing, and what he was saying to Jackie, and why it seemed like he wasn't saying anything. And suddenly, what would eventually become the chorus of the song that I'm gonna play for you just began to pour out of me. So I worked on it for about a month, and it developed into what is now a conversation between us and God, asking him to show himself, and in response, God declaring that he's always there, even when we can't see or feel him. As much as these words were for Jackie, as she walked through cancer, I believe that these words are for us here right now, as we walk through the loss of our dear friend, cousin, niece, sister, and daughter. A few weeks ago, Jackie asked me to sing this song at her funeral, and I replied that it would be my honor. And so today, in memory of my sweet, sweet cousin, it's my honor to present to you In the Trouble.
You were calling. I held your hand in the trouble and I washed your feet. In the trouble I was all you need. In the trouble Are you here when it gets dark? And I can see the sunshine. Are you here when it falls down? And I can pick up the pieces, even when I don't hear you are calling. I hold your hand in the trouble and I wash your feet. In the trouble I am all you need. In the trouble I hold your hand in the trouble and I wash your feet. In the trouble I am all you need. In the trouble anything and everything will come and anything and everything has come, but don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Anything and everything will come and anything and everything has come, but don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. I'll hold your hand in a wash your feet. I am all you need. I'll hold your hand in a wash your feet. I am all you need. I'll hold your hand in the trouble and I'll wash your feet. In the trouble I am all you need. In the trouble
Well, I think it goes without saying that Jackie was a great big sister. She was always there for me when I needed her, whether it was organizing gifts for Mother's Day or trying to convince our parents to buy us snacks and candy, or just needing somebody to hang out with and watch a movie. Everybody's saying, I don't like, I love. That's what Jackie said, but it was also the same thing the other way. She didn't dislike, she hated. And there was one thing, stressful situations and change, she just did not like it. And one of the things was math. Could not do math, hated math. And we used to do a lot of road trips to BC to see family, and every time we'd get in the car and say, okay, Jackie, 100 kilometers to go. We're driving 100 kilometers an hour. How long will that take? And she just, Tyler, oh, you're stupid, I don't care, who cares? She just refused, she just would not do it. She hated change as well. One of my favorite examples was one year we decided to get a fake Christmas tree, and she cried about it for a whole day. And she may have been 18. but just, I don't know, I might have been 12. But anyway, just hated change, and which makes it, for people who maybe didn't know her before this whole 5 years, this whole cancer thing, it's unbelievable because she hated change, she hated stress. And it just made it that much more amazing how well she handled this. And I just remember very clearly one day, or the day that we found out she did have cancer. And, I was sitting with her, we were crying, and, I was saying, I'm bigger, I can handle this better, I'm stronger than you, but I, now realize that I've never been more wrong in my life. She was just the strength that she showed in these past 5 years has just been incredible. She not only persevered to make the most of the rest of her life, but she also allowed the people around her to keep living as well, and she was always worried about our comfort as well. And another story that I liked was, that week we were in El Salvador was such a great week, such an awesome time to spend together. And we were at the beach on the last day, and she wanted to go in the ocean. She wanted to go play in the ocean. So she took off her leg and jumped on my back, and we went piggybacking out into the water. And every once in a while, there's some pretty big waves out there. So one came and knocked her right off my back. She went flying, and I was kind of over there, and some El Salvadorian man went to go help her, and picked her up and saw she didn't have her leg, and said, "What happened?" And Jackie, she was like, oh, this happened before, it's okay. But she just, she was so, she was so selfless, and she just wanted everybody else to feel comfortable before her, even though this was all going around her. She hated saying that cancer was a battle. She hated that. Because if she died, that meant that she lost the battle. But over the past 5 years, she's traveled, gone to concerts, worked at a job she was very proud of, built houses in El Salvador, and inspired every single person in this place, along with countless others around the world. So she didn't lose the battle to cancer, so she won it.
I can't talk and cry at the same time. I might though, and it sounds really awful, so I'm sorry. Little brother, okay. Jackie was a cute, funny, happy, and really sassy little girl. Once when she was 3, before Tyler was born, Peter and Jackie and I were out for dinner with my mom. And as we sat there, Jackie would smile at everyone who walked by, and most people were attracted to this little tiny girl smiling at them, and they stopped to smile back or talk to her. And just sitting there with her after a bunch of interactions, I'd said to her, "Everybody loves you, Jackie." And my mom just commented, she just kind of went, "Wow, that's nice, everyone loves you." So, as you can tell, not much has changed. She grew up to be a cute, funny, happy, and also sassy young woman that everyone loved. As a result, one of the things that's been hardest and the most wonderful at the same time over this last time is that everywhere we've turned for comfort, we find someone who is sad as well. But ironically, there is something oddly comforting in that. Jackie and I had an extraordinary relationship, really very special. It was always so sad that she had to go through this cancer, but I was happy that Most people don't get to have their adult children around them as long as we did, so our relationship really became really extra special. So for that, I'll be eternally grateful. But because of that, a piece of my heart will be missing as I live out my life without her. A few weeks ago, I shared a quote with her, and then someone shared it on her Facebook wall as well, and it goes like this. The day you were born, everybody was happy, but you cried alone. Make your life such that in your last hour, all others are weeping, and you are the only one without a tear to shed. Then you will calmly face death wherever it comes. You did it, sweetie.
Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. It's just such a tribute to her to have all of you here. And I'm just going to say now, for the record, I taught her how to dance.
Prove it. That's awesome.
I remember the day Jackie was born. You know, Carol had to be induced 6 times before this baby would come out. And
It's true.
And unfortunately, she swallowed fluid on her way out, and she had what's called wet lung, and she had to immediately be put into an incubator. And I remember running back and forth from intensive care to Carol to see how Carol was doing and say how beautiful this baby was. And it wasn't until a couple of days later that I went to see Jackie, and the nurse said, she can come out now, and she put her in my arms. And she said, I'll go get your wife. And so I had about 10 minutes alone with this little tiny baby, and here I was, this 25-year-old man maybe, I don't know, boy, holding this tiny baby in a big chair reserved for breastfeeding women. But I was the only one there, and I was alone with her, and I said to her, you know, I would talk to her and introduce myself to her, and this was the first day we could actually even touch her, and I said, you know, that I wanted to be her dad and take care of her and protect her. And unfortunately, I couldn't protect her from the one thing that got her. And that was so disappointing. I never got to walk her down the aisle. And it was something, even as holding her, I thought I would picture myself doing that. And unfortunately, as I said, I won't get that opportunity. However, I did get to walk with her for her entire life. And while I would never have chosen to do that, and I don't recommend anybody tries it, it was such an honor and a privilege to walk with her. She handled herself with such poise and dignity and grace throughout this whole thing, and I couldn't imagine being more proud. The other comparison to walking her down the aisle is when the minister asks, who gives this woman? I imagine that no matter who the lucky guy would have been, I would have been hesitant in giving her away to him. However, when Jackie died, we truly felt that we were turning her over to God, and if he wasn't good enough, then I'm not sure who else would have been. I really didn't want to define Jackie's life by these past 5 years alone. However, so much had happened, and she had taught us so much that I can't help but talk about that. Jackie had the ability to take each piece of bad news with a few minutes of sadness, then pick herself up and start again. She was so brave. I don't know how she continued to do it time and time again, and I'm sure I couldn't have done it. The 100 Days of Happiness, we watched the video earlier. For those who didn't know, it was done during the year where she twice got told the cancer was growing and that she would have to face chemotherapy again, face losing her hair again, face the uncertainty of her future with this terrible disease. And yet, instead of giving up, she chooses to look for happy moments during the most difficult of times. Jackie and I had a final coffee date a little over 2 weeks ago, and she told me that she was ready to die and that she was at peace with it, and that she felt that both her and Carol had come to grips with dying, and she was worried that Tyler and I were not. I told her that I would always have regrets that I wasn't able to protect her from this, and that I was so disappointed that I couldn't fix it. She said, "Dad, it's okay. I understand your frustration, but you truly don't need to feel that way." So here she was comforting me when I should have been comforting her. And on the night she passed away, it really wasn't until after both Tyler and I had a chance to say it was okay for her to go. So who gives away this woman? Very reluctantly, her family does.
Thank you guys. I love you guys so much. Why did we plan for me to go on after you guys? Yeah, that was beautiful. I love you guys so much. Like I said, I am so honored, so privileged to be able to say these words for you. And Jackie was one of my most favorite people in the whole world, one of my closest friends, and she was very close to me as I candidated to be pastor of our church. And she was a little cheerleader for me, and we both shared the same job. And when I got the news that I was going to be pastor of the church, I looked across the room, and she just looked at me, and she went, "Huh?" And I just gave her a thumbs up, and she gave me that smile that I just love, that smile that just makes everybody else smile. And after church, I always like to think I'm becoming a mature pastor, but when Jackie was at church, I would just find myself in a corner with her, and we were just giggling about something absolutely ridiculous. And I always liked that about her because she made me feel like it was okay to just be me. I didn't have to be, a mature pastor or something. I could just be me with her. And I sat with her a few weeks ago out on the patio, and I just said, "Jackie, what do you want people to feel when they leave this service? What do you want?" And I wasn't sure what she's going to say, and she just laughed, and she said, "Justin, I just don't want people leaving all depressed." And we sat out on her patio, and her cat, Janny, just sat underneath her, and we just laughed. And I take that seriously. In her was this feeling of, I don't want people to feel depressed because I'm okay. So I felt the one thing she'd want me to do is to comfort you through her words and her story, to tell you it's okay. She's okay. So I want to comfort you through her words and tell you the story of the last few times I had with my friend Jackie. To start this story, I have to say that she wasn't always happy, of course, and Jackie had a beautiful honesty about her. It was wonderful. She wouldn't put up with the trite or the overly religious, and it's something I appreciate. And I remember I visited her at the Tom Baker when she was there, and they were trying to get all the pain under control. And I could just tell she was sad, and I was sad. And I just said, "Jackie, are you afraid?" And I remember we had this heart-to-heart talk, and she just said, "Justin, what meaning is there in a 28-year-old losing her life?" And I didn't have an answer. What meaning is there? I don't know. There's this Hebrew word called Shoah, which just means a meaningless catastrophe. Just nothing redeemable about it. And there were moments that felt just like Shoah. And in that moment, she looked at me and said, "What meaning? I don't know. I don't know." And I appreciated her honesty. She didn't want to paint it over with the trite. So we sat in that Shoah together, this meaningless kind of catastrophe. And I walked away with this prayer in my heart: "Oh God, oh Jesus, where are you in this Shoah? Can we see your face? Can we feel your hands? Can you comfort us? Where are you in this? And I prayed for her, and I said, Lord, I hope that you call her and that you're with her in these past few months. And so I went to visit her again. The pain was worse, and they had her sedated to try and keep everything under control. And at that point, I wasn't sure if I was ever going to be able to talk to her again. I wasn't sure if she was going to wake up. And even in that sedated state, she was still her. She was still Jackie. And I got to tell her the story of the first time I ever met her. She worked at Rogers Video, and I went with my wife. And she was this jovial, amazing person, one of my first friends in Canada. And I told her that story, and I saw her smile at me, and I knew she could hear me. So I held her hand, and I prayed for her. I just said, God, please give her peace. Please show her that you're here. And I kissed her forehead, and I said, you did so well. You did amazing. I thought this was going to be the last time she might hear me. And on my way home, I didn't get very far because I was so grieved, and I pulled over, and there was just this small park tucked away in some neighborhood by the Tom Baker, and I sat on the bench, and again I just said, oh God, where are you? Jesus, where are you? And I heard him. In a still small voice speak to the depths of my soul. I heard Jesus say, in his own words from John 14, I've gone and I've prepared a place for her. And I will prepare a place for you. It didn't give me any answers, but I knew that Jesus was getting ready for her. And I heard him speak to me. And little did I know I would have more visits with her. I was gifted with amazing more times after that moment. And I sat with her out on the patio of the Warners. And I told her that. I said, Jackie, I just get this strong impression that you are just going to be okay. That Jesus is preparing a room for you, a place for you in his kingdom. And the cracks started to form in the Shoah, in this despair. I started to see Jackie in the past few times that I saw her have so much joy and peace and hope again. It was almost unbelievable. And it was right around that time, her now famous blog post where she said, my life was just as long as it needed to be. She started to see life more as this container of opportunity to have love and joy and experiences. And she said, in my 28 years alive, I've had more love, more joy, more experiences than some people do in their entire life. The real tragedy is that somebody could live 100 years and not experience what I have. I couldn't believe the words she said. And I know why. It's because of you, this family. One of the most beautiful families I've ever seen in my life and I've ever known, and I actually feel a part of your family, and that's the beauty of your family. You guys are amazing, and she knew how blessed, lucky she was to be in this family, even if it be only for 28 years, that was a gift. As you look at this family, this is a beautiful family. As I got to visit them in the hospital with Jackie, the comments of nurses and doctors of how much love was in this family. And sometimes I'd come and it may be just Peter or just Carol, but their sweetness and their kindness in these times of despair, the love that you've offered me, even as you were suffering. And I looked at you, Peter, and I just thought, I just want to be a dad like him. I do. I hope I can be a dad like you, Peter. I think Jackie started to see just how amazing her life is. And whenever we talked about heaven, whenever we talked about Jesus, it felt like he was kissing her cheeks and whispering in her ear. You know, pastors aren't supposed to be open about their doubts sometimes. But sometimes you wonder, is it real? Or do we just say these things to comfort each other? I'm here to tell you, I know heaven's real. Because I could feel it with her. Because when I sat with her and we talked about Jesus' love for her, his acceptance of her, his joy over her, that he danced for her first, it felt like heaven was there in the room. Actually, my last time that I was with Jackie, the joy and the peace was so thick, it was weird. It was like something I had never experienced before. I actually stumbled to my car because I felt so relaxed and so at peace. There were times I had to pull over because the presence of God was so thick with Jackie in her last week. And I think she'd want you all to know that. One of the last text conversations I had with her, she said, lately the lyrics to this song have been running through my mind. No guilt in life, no fear in death. This is the power of Christ in me. And she said, I can feel this in every ounce of my soul. And I said, wow, Jackie, that's so beautiful. And in this amazing turn of events, Jackie became my pastor and my comforter and my spiritual advisor. And I said, Jackie, I hope I will feel that in every ounce of my soul too someday. And she replied back, you will. I think it would be Jackie's heart and the heart of our Savior Jesus Christ that you would feel the peace that Jackie felt in her past few weeks. That you would come to know the peace that she felt. You would come to know the joy she felt. There's no guilt in life. Jackie had no guilt. She had no regrets. It was wiped clean. She had no regret over her past and no fear over her future. She had no fear about what was going to come. She would just say, I know I'm not done yet. I know I'm going on. I can't tell you how beautiful it is to see a human being with no guilt and no fear. It was absolutely awe-inspiring to see her. No guilt and no fear. And I know what she'd want me to say. I think that's what she would want for all of you too. No fear of death. No guilt in life. I'm just going to close. Carol shared with me that Psalm 34 was really important for her over Jackie. I just want to read parts of this. I sought the Lord, and he answered me. He delivered me from all my fears. Those who look to him are radiant. Their faces are never covered with shame. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and he delivers them. You know, Carol, it really did feel like there were angels encamped around her. The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them. He delivers them from their troubles. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. The righteous person may have many troubles, but the Lord delivers him from them all. He protects all his bones. Not one of them will be broken. The Lord will rescue his servants. No one who takes refuge in him will be condemned. Jackie took refuge in the Lord, and she knew she would not be condemned. The words I want to leave you. I went to her room on Thursday night, and I just wanted to say goodbye. And I said, Jackie, I'm so sorry that life didn't go the way it should have gone for you. I just kind of said that out in her room. I don't know how you grieve, but I like to talk to rooms. And I got the overwhelming sense that she was smiling so big and just said, "Oh, Justin, it's okay. I'm fine." I want to leave you with these words. I think Jackie would want me to say this. She's okay. She's fine. She's with the one that loves her and knows her and forgave her. And she would want you to have the peace that she felt in those final days. So if I may pray a prayer that I think Jackie would want me to pray over you. Jesus, I pray for everyone here. We're sad. We miss her. We wish she was here. But Jesus, I thank you that you've healed her, that you've restored her, that she is fully Jackie now, even more than she's ever been. I want to pray, Lord, the peace that you gave Jackie on that last day that I saw her, that overwhelming presence, would come and rest on the Warner family and on everybody here. Would we know the peace that Jackie felt? Would we know the hope that Jackie felt? In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you all, and thank you for giving me this time. We're going to close the service with another video, a slideshow that David Hoagie lovingly prepared. So I just direct you to watch this, and then the service will come to a close. Thank you so much.
So yeah, the last 5 years have been like, honestly, the best of times and the worst of times. As cliche as it can be, it's with people and doing the best to enjoy what I can.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. What we'll do now, and what we'll do is we'll post that video online for us all to see. I think it just froze there, but we'll have it available for everybody to see online. I just want to thank you all again, just for being here on behalf of the Warners, for paying tribute to Jackie. What we're going to do now is feel free to file outside, and we're going to enjoy some refreshments together and continue sharing stories of Jackie, comforting each other. So thank you all so much. We'll see you outside.